And that's right on. So now, let's go into it. I'm going to share my screen now. That's it on that? Anything else?
It's more of a thing.
No, go ahead. You can read the rest. Let's get it all, and then we'll go into showing them how we calculated it before the new year came in last year. Go ahead.
Verse 37. For this reason the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order, and make an abominable day the day of testimony, and an unclean day a feast day. And they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the unclean day with the holy.
Exactly.
For they will go wrong as the months, and Sabbaths, and feasts, and jubilees.
See? Why are they going off with the holy days and the Sabbaths and the jubilees? Because they're following according to the moon. Now, there's a time that's reckoned from the heavenly tables, from the beginning, that those in Christ must link to now, so that we can understand the time. Okay? Now, let me share my screen with you here. And we're going to go step by step, take a pencil and pad for those who was dealing with the calculation and was wondering how we deal with it. Just follow us, and I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, that's my screen. All right. All right. So here we are. We're at the Naval Observatory. The Naval Observatory website. Now, the reason why we go to this website is because when it comes to when time comes in, it's more accurate than any other calculation you can get. Of course, sometimes it may be a minute or two off in certain instances, but it's still closer than any other calculation you could have. All right? So what we do is we go to the data services and we hit rise. We hit rise and set twilight table. That's the table we're at here. You go data services, rise and twilight table for an entire year. And you click on that, and that takes us to the page we're at. We're here, all right? You go down to Form B, right here. Why? Because we're not calculating from the United States. We're calculating worldwide. Okay? Worldwide. See? Locations worldwide. All right? Now, where will we be calculating from? Mount Sinai. See? So in order for us to calculate and get some specifics for Mount Sinai, being that there's no calculation from Mount Sinai itself, we must put in the degrees. So, we're going east. Now, check out the degrees we must put in longitude. You got it. 33 degrees. See? All right. Then we go to the next. Latitude north. Right? The latitude north is 28 degrees. Why? Because we're coming 2 hours east of Greenwich. See? There's a calculation from Greenwich that's near or 2 hours in proximity of time that close to Sinai. So we put that latitude north 28 degrees 2 hours east of Greenwich, right? Now we did this last year and did a calculation for 2013. So let me give you that first. Right? Now before I go here, let me show you the area from whence the Most High was speaking to the children of Israel, our forefathers. He was speaking to us. He was speaking to us from Mount Sinai, as you can see here. So we're going to use this in proximity to give you the reckon of times from when the sun comes up in this particular area, to give you the first day of the year, starting back when we first calculated it, right? Follow us closely here. So we're going back to the calculation. 33 east, longitude, 28 degrees north latitude, 2 hours east of Greenwich, which is Mount Sinai. Then after that, you hit compute table. All right? Now, this is what we got last year for 2013 for Mount Sinai. Now, what's great about this is if you do have a computer, have a printer hooked up to it, you can just print it out and look at the calculations there. What we're going to do is we're going to look at March, seeing when the sun rise and the sun set. See that? So I'm going to go to about right here. And I want y'all to see something here. Look at this here. Look at here on the 17th of last year. The sun rose at 5:57. See that? 5:57 in the morning, and it set 5:57 in the evening. That's an equal 12 hours, right? Some people might say, well, the first day of the year was the 17th. Well, no. When you go back one day, we got the 16th here, right?
Yes, the 16th.
Exactly. So it's not the 17th, it's the 16th. Let me correct that. As you can see, the 16th, let me highlight it here because these lines are small. Excuse me. Let me get it so they can see it. 16th of last year. 5:57, 17:57, right? And when was the Passover last year? I mean, when was the first day of the year last year? March 16th, right? 12 hours, right? But look at the 12 hours right here the day before. 5:57, which gives us the 12 hours part night and the 12 hours part day coming into sundown. You see that? And that's why last year it was the 16th. See? The night before then, 5:57 is when the sun set. So from 5:57 here, the sun set for the last day of the year. And it rose 5:57 going into what? The first day of the year. Equal parts night, equal parts day. Beyond any shadow of a doubt from Mount Sinai. From there on, there's no need going forward to have to calculate anything. Because once we got the first day of the year, we're on the cycle of Sabbaths. And it so happened that this came in on Saturday sundown. The end of the Sabbath is the last day of the year. Now check that out. The Most High is perfect in his time. So, when you go through the cycles now and you look at the clock, same calculation, it still gives you that close proximity, equal parts night and equal parts day, right? For 2014. Now here's the issue. When you look at our clock today, or our calendar, and try to resolve it with the 365-day calendar, you'll see that it comes up a day earlier each year. So people are looking at it and saying, well, hold up. If we keep doing this for years on end, we're going to end up in February. We're going to end up in... No. February really don't exist. Okay? These are the days, these are the months are named after the Gentiles. We're not supposed to deal with their cycles according to how they have resolved how to calculate time. We're just dealing with that equal parts night and day. Why? Because it doesn't matter what time of year or what month we're in. After you get the equal parts night and day, every day going forward from there will begin to get warmer. Especially from where we're calculating the east. See? And some people might say, well, suppose it's raining, suppose it's snowing. Well, listen, Enoch told us about that too. Enoch mentioned that too. Let's get Enoch real quick. The 80th chapter.
This is the book of Enoch, chapter 80.
Go ahead.
And in the days of the sinners, the years shall be shortened.
In the days of the sinners, the years shall be shortened.
And their seed shall be tardy on their lands and fields. And all things on the earth shall alter.
Go ahead.
And shall not appear in their time. And the rain shall be kept back. The heaven shall withhold. And in those times the fruit of the earth shall be backward, and shall not grow in their time. And the fruits of the trees shall be withheld in their time. And the moon shall alter her order, and not appear at her time. And in those days the sun shall be seen, and he shall journey in the evening on the extremity of the great chariot in the west, and shall shine more brightly than accords with the order of light. And many chiefs of the stars shall transgress the order prescribed. And these shall alter their orbits and tasks, and not appear at the seasons prescribed to them. And the whole order of the stars shall be concealed from the sinners.
So now that you have sinners in the earth that have actually been doing all types of evil things and raping and destroying the earth, through global warming and all types of garbage they're doing with HAARP and all that, all the seasons based on the sinners are thrown off anyway within the earth. So you can't look at the clock and our calculations and say, man, it's going to be cold during this time. We can't celebrate during this, or it's going to be hot during this time. Because we know at the end times that the sinners which are operating in the earth today will begin to throw off the course within the earth, so that you would know what time we're in, so that we can be confused concerning the seasons. But the Most High have given us something in which we're not deceived. If we know when the Sabbaths come in and the equal parts night and day come in for the new year, we're on the cycle of Sabbaths regardless of what the sinners do. Okay? You want to add anything, or you good?
Good.
All right. So now you know how we've calculated it, what coordinates to put in, so that you'll know how to calculate. Now, of course, it even tell you on all these that all these different sites that it gives a take depending on the degrees you put in. All right. Now there could be coordinates that we can tweak where we can get it down to the last second, but it so happened, and I don't think it's a coincidence, that the Most High, at the year when we were looking at this and it was revealed, showed us an equal parts night and day right on the minute. And it was the only place in the spring in which you had equal parts night and day exactly. 5:57 to 12, 5:57 to 5:57 to 5:57. Equal parts night all the way up until the next day in. See? To show us that we were on course with the Sabbath. And it also proves another thing. Just because the Gentiles name the days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it doesn't mean they change the count of the days. Sunday is still the first day of the year. They just named the first day Sunday. They didn't switch around the days in which mankind wouldn't know where the Sabbath fall in at. That's another deceptive tool that Satan is trying to put out there, making you think that the real Sabbath was on a Monday or a Tuesday because they changed days around. No, they didn't change days around. Just that when they instituted the Gregorian, they went from the 1st to the 15th. Okay? They just added 2 weeks in time. That's it. But they were still on the same day. Okay? Because why? It was 14 days away. So they never changed the cycles of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They just changed how we calculate the year so that we as a people would begin to follow their gods, their holy days, and worship the Gentiles' gods in this earth, chiefly Satan. Okay? So I think that's it on that. this part of that, all right? And I went further into it than I've ever gone before, so that brothers and sisters don't be alarmed and look at the clock and say, well, it was the 16th, then it was the 15th. Next year it's going to be the 14th when a year come in. Well, understand that we're not reckoning with a 365-day calendar. The Gentiles are. We don't care what month and day they say we're in. We're going by the Most High, equal parts night, equal parts day, for the last day of the year to resolve when to start counting for the new year. Crystal clear. Now that we got the new year, it's simple. You count 14 days from the new year, you have the time that begins the feast of the Passover. On the 14th day is the time in which the preparation and things began so that we can have the feast. Between the 14th sundown and between when the sun go down, between the 15th, the 14th and the 15th, those 2 days is when we're dealing with the whole culmination of the Passover. The beginning of the Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, when the sun go down the next day. See? So, you calculate that not from the moon, brothers and sisters, but from the cycles according to the Sabbaths given to the Most High, given from the Most High to the elect prophets, beginning with Enoch. Okay? And these were the same cycles Christ was on, the disciples were on, the Essenes were on, outside the Pharisaical sect who were deceived following the ways of the Gentiles. See? So I wanted to put that out there and give a clear-cut calculation right before you so you'll know how we got this. Now, of course, like I said, all the sites you go to, even this one, will say give and take a certain amount of time because you're not sitting there at the point of entry for the sun. But we did find the correct tool to use to give us a right calculation opposed to every other tool that's out there. And it so happened the last day of the year fell on the end of the Sabbath. Right on point. And we have to thank the Most High. All praises to the Most High, Ahaya Ba'ashim Yeshaya, Rawchaa through the Holy Spirit, for giving us the information, because we were pulling our hair out from year to year, trying to deal with this moon thing for years. Every year you got to be counting the moons and when the moon comes in because it's never on course. And now we don't have to deal with that. The clock takes care of itself as long as we remember the Sabbath. So we get in that first day of the year. We count 14 days, which is 2 weeks from that point, gives you the Passover, the beginning of the Passover, right? So let's go into it. We're going to read a few things on the Passover. I don't know if we can handle it all today because we're behind the time. But I just want to give brothers and sisters an understanding of how Christ fulfilled the Passover down to every order or every point of being that sacrifice. So every when it comes to time periods of when we must feast, when it comes to when he was sacrificed, all that had to be fulfilled when he was on the earth to the point where he became that Passover lamb. He had to fulfill that sacrifice of the Old Testament to the letter. To the letter. And there's some importance in that. I'm going to go there in a moment. Speaking of the Passover, let's go to Exodus the 12th.